What's going on, y'all? Jake here from Flooded Marsh Flies. Today I'll be tying a crawfish that's been working pretty well for me as we transition into fall from the summer. I've just been pitching it around big structure like bridge pylons and big rock drop-offs. It's been working pretty well on the smallmouth. It's matching the hatch, got good movement. So anyways, let's get into it. Today I'm tying on a Gamakatsu B10S in a size 2. I'm also using large brass eyes here from CW Flies, and I'm going to be tying on white thread. I'm just going to start the thread right behind the hook eye here. Aiming to make a bit of a bump just to put my brass eyes on. Just using a series of X wraps at first here. Then I'm just going underneath and continue with the X wraps. Then I'm going to move my thread pretty far back here. I'm going past the bend of the shank. Just making a bit of a thread down there, and then I'm going to add some of these Nymph eyes from Hareline. They're just plastic little eyes. They add no weight. It's all looks. Then I'm going to flip the fly here and just attach those to the bottom, same way I attach the brass eyes. They can be a little tricky, so sometimes you want to hold them in your offhand. Just making sure they're nice and secure. And then I'll also bend them forward, so just facing away from the hook point. Next up here, I'm going to use some of this micro bug dubbing here in Caddis Brown from Fly Tyer's Dungeon. I'm just using a bit of this here. I'm just aiming to cover up those eyes. Then I'm just going to attach this using X wraps, just covering up that tie-in point, covering up all that white thread. If I didn't say this, white thread is from, it's Danville's 210 flat wax. Then I'm going to move my thread back up towards my eyes, and I'm going to add just a single Sili leg here, in brown and black. Just going to attach those in. I'm using loose pressure here. This is just to not make the legs prop up as much. If you use too much tension, they just tend to go vertical on you, and that's not what I want here. Looking pretty good and clean. I'm going to move my thread halfway here. Then I'm going to add some of this sand crab dubbing. Just a bunch of this stuff. It's just a mix of dubbing and Sili legs. I'm not grabbing that much, just a little pinch. I'm going to go ahead and tie that in. Bring it up flush with where we just tied those Sili legs in. Cutting off my excess. And just making sure to clean everything up. Looking pretty good there. So we're going to go ahead and add our next step, which is the rabbit strips. These are just sunker strips from Hareline and Rust Brown. They're also barred. I've just cut a probably 1.5 inch piece of the sunker strip here and then cut a triangle where we're going to tie it in. It just makes everything easier. I'm also going to do these one at a time. It's just easier for me. I use more thread, but I'd rather use more thread and my fly look alright. Or more so make my life easier. Just even pressure here, making sure to tie those in. I'll bring it flush to where we just tied in that bit of dubbing. Just making sure everything's nice and clean. Looking pretty good. Next step here is just going to be add some of this Crustaceous brush from EP. It's in 1.5 inch in Everglades color. I love this stuff. It adds a lot of bulk, but I trim it down and it makes a nice body. I actually spend more time in trimming this fly than tying it. I don't know how to feel about that. Just tying that in and bringing my thread forward all the way to the hook eye. And I'm just going to palmer this back and begin to wrap. These aren't exactly touching wraps, but they're pretty close to one another. There's a bit of distance in between, just because I don't want to add too much bulk. But just wrapping that forward towards those brass eyes. Then I'm going to split the fibers where we're going to tie it off at. Just make sure nice, even, tight pressure. Also going to throw a couple wraps in front that just helps secure everything. Cut it as close as we can get it. Just making sure everything's nice and clean. And I'm going to go ahead and throw a couple half hitches in here. You could go ahead and cut your thread free if you want, but I just leave it on there. And this is just so we can trim without worrying about our fly coming apart. Then I'm just going to pick everything free with the bodkin, trying to split it evenly between both sides. My roommate here, he asked if I had any Drano, so I had to help him out. But anyway, we're looking pretty even here. Looking pretty good, so now we go to trim jail. And I'm pretty loose when I trim this fly. I tend to over trim, so I try to cut back on that now. My first trim is going to be the largest, my first cut. It's just going to be take the bulk off that side. And then I'm just refining it from there, smoothing the edges out, trimming it down if need be. I keep some fat ones in my box, I keep some skinny ones in my box. Really just playing the conditions. This could easily work as a redfish fly as well, changing the colors around if you want. You could even fish it like this. I could see it mimicking a crab, a shrimp even if it's stripped correctly. And the fish is happy enough, of course. Just doing the same thing to the other side, trying to get them as close as possible to one another. also trim flat on the front and the back like that. That's just to remove bulk, remove loose fibers as well. I'm trimming my Sili legs there, just even, or I guess just past those rabbit strips. Now that I'm thinking about it more, I'm sure a redfish would absolutely crush this fly, actually. Looking pretty good there. I'm happy with it. Like I said, I tend to over trim, and there's a great example right there. You could go ahead and finish this fly here, but I'm going to go ahead and add a weed guard. And a little thing I do is on these cheap spools of mono like this, I'll just add a zip tie and feed the mono straight through the zip tie. And it just helps the spool from unwounding itself. But I'm going to grab a good sized piece of 35-pound mono here. Just measure it up where it's going to be just short of the hook point, I mean. I'm also going to take my forceps and just flatten the edges. I love to do that. Just makes tying in this weed guard so much easier. Still trimming up loose fibers. You could sit here and perfect this fly all day, but the fish don't care, in my opinion. I say that as I continue to trim this fly, but eventually I'll be happy with it. You see, now I have a nice flat tie-in point. Sometimes it can be a little long, which I'm going to notice here in a second, but I just trim off a bit. No big deal. Getting as close as I can to the hook eye without crowding it. Then just nice even pressure. Throw a lot of wraps in here. Also throw some wraps behind. You'll see I throw my finger in here in a second, just in between the weed guard and the hook point, and that's just to help me get the thread behind that weed guard and stand it up a little bit easier. I'm gonna go ahead and whip finish here. Then just as a finishing touch, I'm just going to take a brown Sharpie and color in this white thread. Of course, you can use brown thread if you want. I just have a lot of white thread on hand. Even get behind the weed guard. As always, I want to thank y'all for watching. If you're watching at this point in the video, or if you're watching it at all, I really am enjoying making these videos, so I'm going to continue doing it. Hope y'all fish this fly. If you tie it, send it to me on Instagram. I want to see it. Have a good week, y'all.